Hey YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. Today I think I'm gonna be talking about my 5 favorite things after having the car, the C8, for about 926 miles right now on the clock. So let's call it 900 or 1,000, whatever you guys prefer. So I've had the car for let's see, I got it September 9th is when I picked it up at the Corvette museum. And we we waited quite a bit for it. We got some I don't know what they're either asking you to vote for somebody or picketing or something. I'm not sure what they're doing. Anyways, we got the car September 9th at the Corvette museum. If you haven't watched that video, I'll put the link up there on the right hand top, or just watch the C8 video series. By the way, if this is your first time watching this channel, thank you for checking it out. And if you'd like to subscribe, we'd love to have you on board to take a look at some of these videos and see if it's content that you like, that you enjoy. I can't see, that's one of the bad things. If you try to see, it's just it's hard to see in the C8. But anyway, so let's say we've had the car now for just over a month, and I've loved every minute of it. In fact, I don't get to drive it a whole lot because today is one of the few rare days, as you can see out here, where the sun is actually out, because it has been raining. And it, of course, it always rains on the weekends, right? So we haven't been driving the car as much as we would like. So here I am. I wanted to do a quick update on my 5 favorite things on the car. I know there's plenty of these videos out there, but this is my video and my C8, so I wanted to share that with you guys and let you know what I love about this car. So I'm gonna start right off the bat with number 1, not to waste any more time. I love the interior. This car just fits perfectly. You know, American cars, as I've said in other videos, and you've heard it from journalists, car journalists, you know, Top Gear is very famous with the Top Gear crew, especially with Jeremy Clarkson, in making fun of American cars, build quality, interior. But those days are long gone, in my opinion. And I've owned German luxury cars, I've owned SUVs, cars, you know, sports cars. I've had multiple BMWs, I've had tons of American vehicles, and as well as others, Lexus, you name it. And I gotta tell you, this is right up there with a lot of those fine German interiors, you know, German cars. And you can dislike it, you can thumb it down all you want, but sit in one. I highly recommend you to sit in one. Now keep in mind, there's also different trims, right? On the 1LT, you may not have as many nice surfaces, but it's still a really nice interior. On the 2LT, things are gonna get nicer. 3LT, they get even nicer, right? You start seeing some of the micro suede here on the roof, on the pillars. You've got leather coverings pretty much anywhere. This little area is hard plastic. That's one of the very few places where it's not covered. Even the little cover for the cup holders is leather. And this is one of the reasons I also picked the 3LT trim. I don't know if the 2LT has it, but on the 1LT that I sat in, I noticed that this was kind of rubbery, and I just didn't, or maybe hard plastic, I don't even know. And I just didn't like the feel of that. So I'm like, okay, I've got to get at least a 3LT interior. Then you've got dual climate control. As you can see down here, you've got heated, cool seats. You've got the rear view camera, which of course you get with a lot of, with a couple other trims. And I think it's an option too, so you can just straight up order that if you like, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, the interior is just amazing. I love being in here. It fits like a glove. Yes, I'm a little plump, so I fit a little tighter in here, but all the surfaces are nice. They feel great on your hands. They look great. You know, the brushed aluminum, a lot of people have pointed out, this is real aluminum. It's all brushed, you know, metal and materials. So it's not cheap plastics, it's not cheap paint. I've seen that on some even, you know, nice German luxury vehicles that I've owned myself, and Japanese luxury vehicles, where the interior trim started to peel after a few years because, you know, these high surfaces, also things like the gloss, you know, like the piano finish and the wood, they just don't age that well sometimes. And you know, we'll see, the jury obviously still out on this, but I think the interior is phenomenal. So that's number 1. Love the interior, fits like a glove. The cockpit is awesome. You've got the heads-up display. Again, that's just going to depend on the trim that you have. I love how this changes just by the click of a button depending on the driving mode. The navigation, they did an awesome job with this thing. You know, it's very responsive, it's fast. Might be a little dark in here, by the way. The sun's setting really quickly. I also like the shift controls here, so it's comfortable, it rides well. You know, we've got the adjustable magnetic ride suspension in this one, so that helps quite a bit to hug the road. Instantly with the click of a button, either with the mode drive here selector or with my Z button, I can quickly select and the suspension stiffens up. Everything you know, gets customized to my liking, how I have it on there. So huge thumbs up. And then of course you can't forget the Targa top that easily comes off. It stores in the back, and you've got an awesome car interior wise. Amazing. So thumbs up on the interior. Okay, that's number one. Let's go to number two now. I don't know if any of the videos that I've watched have talked about this because it's in the interior, but I love the Bose sound system. This is the Bose Performance Series is what they call it. I can't turn it up, unfortunately, because they just, you know, I get copyrighted with whatever. But trust me when I tell you, this sound system sounds absolutely amazing. It drops really hard. It'll make the door shake so hard from the bass. The sound quality is amazing. Again, yes, for the audiophiles, you know, you've got, I gotta take my sunglasses. It's getting so dark in this little road over here. And we've got bikers in the middle of the road, as always. I hate those guys. I know, share the road. But you know, bicycles don't pay taxes, and that until they pay taxes, I'm sorry guys, thumb me down all you want, but cars have to be registered. We have to follow the road rules. They don't. They run red lights. You know, they don't have any concern for traffic. They squeeze in between cars. Anyways, I'm not around here, but until they pay taxes and plate those bikes, I don't think they belong on the road. Just my opinion. Like motorcycles, they have to do it. So why, you know, why do bicycles not have to do it? Anyways, so back to the sound system. Sounds amazing. I love it. Huge thumbs up. I would definitely recommend you upgrade. I'm a big fan of the OEM look. I don't like aftermarket stuff. Now in the Viper, I had the Alpine Halo 9, which was a great unit, but I will tell you, obviously it wasn't OEM, right? But it looked as close as OEM as possible, and that's what I prefer. I just love the look of an OEM setup, and if it sounds great already, I don't need to add a bunch of subwoofers and amplifiers and all that other stuff to the car. I want a clean look, and I want it OEM. So big thumbs up on the Bose sound system. So that's my number two. Number three, and again, I'm keeping the theme with the interior, right? Because I feel like there's just so much to talk about on the interior, and not a lot of people talk about this. The rear view camera. I love this feature. This is so awesome. Normally in most mid-engine cars or hatchbacks, right, that's kind of what you would have. Let me raise that up a little bit. That's all, and hopefully you can see that there, but that's about all that you would see. And so it's not great visibility. I mean, I can't see anything out of that, but you flip this up and boom, you've got the nice camera over there, and so that makes it really easy to see. So yeah, for a car like this, that's such an amazing feature to have. Just makes it so nice. And as you guys have seen in other videos, there are some buttons here. I'm driving right now, so I can't do it, but you can adjust the brightness, you can adjust the zoom, how much it zooms in on the view, and kind of move it up and down, which is pretty awesome. So huge thumbs up on that mirror. Every car should have that. It's even more useful than a camera system, and I absolutely love it. So that's number three for me. All right, so what's number four, guys? Well, number four, it's that right there. And I know, obviously, this has been around for a long time. And by that, I mean the mid-engine setup. That is just a total game changer. And especially at this price point, for a long time, you know, I had been looking at, because I'm a huge fan of mid-engine cars. I love Lamborghini, I love McLaren, I love Ferrari, but I just can't afford one, right? And so my options were, you know, get a used one, which I'm not against, but you really got to do your due diligence. And with a used mid-engine supercar comes a super repair, super price, super maintenance. And so that always kind of deterred me from them, and that's why I kind of stuck with the Viper, although that wasn't any cheaper. Vipers, you know, being American, some of the parts were a lot cheaper. A lot of the work I could do myself. If I had the time and my back wasn't jacked up, I definitely probably would have fixed the engine myself, but that wasn't an option. And that was one of the reasons where I loved the Viper, because you had, you know, kind of exotic looks where people don't see one every day, and every time you drive that thing out, they're freaking out, they love it, they want to take pictures, thumbs up. And so I loved the Viper. And then, you know, oil changes, parts, I could cross-reference them to a lot of other Dodge vehicles, and I could do the maintenance myself, like the brakes, the alternator, the starter, you know, basic stuff like that, right? Where even in some of these exotic cars will cost you 2-3 times more to repair that. And so I love the mid-engine setup, and the handling is just absolutely incredible. Going from the Viper, where if I pushed it in any one of these little turns, and even with the 345 tires in the back, you know, I had to be pretty ready to catch that thing, because it would go at any time. I've had Camaros, I've had Mustangs, and all of them drive pretty much the same with the front rear setup. You know, you gotta be ready to catch that rear end if something, you know, something were to slip. If you push it hard on the turns, you gotta be ready. Not saying that that can happen on this vehicle, because it can happen on any vehicle, but the grip that this car exhibits, the handling, I am just blown away at how good this car drives. And let's give it a little woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Look at this, that's what I like, one-handed. Oh my gosh, I mean, it is just so planted. This thing is absolutely insane. I definitely couldn't do that in the Viper for sure. So anyways, that's why I love the mid-engine car. Through the turns, this thing is just on rails. It is hooked to the ground. You can push it pretty hard. And again, keep in mind, guys, this is the Stingray. I don't want to call it a base model, because it's not cheap. It's not a cheap car, right? Especially with the 3LT and the options that we have on this thing. So I think it would be a disservice to call it a base model. But it's the entry-level model, right? It's the beginning of the C8, of the Corvette. And the things that this car can already do, 0 to 60 in 2.7 in my car, which if you want to see that video, you can check that out too. I've got a 11.7, but I couldn't get anything under 3 seconds in the 0 to 60. So I know this is a low 11, maybe a high 10-second car stock, which is insane. And some guys have captured those times, right? So I mean, it's insane for the price. And again, when I was thinking about getting maybe a used Lamborghini Gallardo, getting a used McLaren MPC, is it 412? MP412, yeah. Or maybe stepping up to a 570, you know, those were the things that kind of, the C8 just kind of makes you, you know, go, do I want to deal with a used supercar with and again, I'm not saying, you know, I love Lambos, I love Ferraris. We're talking about what makes sense, right? I can get a new one like this with a warranty, similar performance, similar styling, mid-engine setup, incredible handling, incredible interior, modern technology too. You know, those are some of the things you don't think about. Yes, you get prestige with a Lambo, a Ferrari, a McLaren like no other, no denying that, but you don't get some of the new tech. I mean, even CarPlay, right? I love CarPlay, and I know some of you use Android Auto. It's a basic feature, right? But I love that. It's nice to have that. I love the dual climate controls. I love the cooled seats, heated seats. A lot of those cars, even new ones, don't have cooled seats, you know, and so, or vented seats, whatever you want to call it. So those are the things you give up, and you give that up for the nameplate, for the prestige, for the performance, because yes, a lot of those cars that I've named have more horsepower than this and are a little bit quicker, at least in the quarter mile, but in the 0 to 60, they're very similar. So, you know, it was kind of a trade-off. You get that supercar performance, you get that mid-engine performance with a warranty, and not have to worry about the maintenance and things like that, because it's still an American car, still a Corvette, which is made for the masses to be cheaper. So absolutely love looking at that back there, being able to see, hopefully I'm capturing that mid-engine back there. It is the best part of owning this car. The looks that it gets, the color is amazing. So that's my number 4. And to wrap this video up, let's think about, you know, there's so many features that I can pick. But this right here just makes it so much fun. It's just insane how it pulls. I mean, that feeling's just amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't get over that at all. And that is number 5 to me. The ease of driving this vehicle, how quickly it downshifts. The sound, even stock, right? It's not as good as a fully open exhaust, but man, it sounds so amazing. And it just drives so incredibly well. It drives incredibly well. It looks well. The color's amazing. It also smells really good in here, but that's my number 5. The driving dynamics of this vehicle, how well it's put together, the magnetic ride suspension, the front lift, the handling, the braking, the turning is all amazing. You know, I was concerned with the brakes. A lot of people showed concern with the brakes, and definitely there's room for improvement there. One of the things I don't like is the pedal travel. Even for a brand new car with brand new pads and pretty good brakes, the brakes are incredible. There's a lot of pedal travel, and I'm not used to that. I don't like that on the Viper. The pedal, even, you know, an older car is an 06. You're talking about a 14-year-old car with also consider smaller brakes on the Viper. They it was, you put your foot on the brakes and oh my god, I just love that feeling. It's just brutal how it accelerates. Anyways, the brake pedal I don't love on this thing. It's got a little bit of travel. Again, it stops really well, and there were concerns about the size. They're kind of on the smaller side, but it stops really well from any speed, either entering corners, in the middle of the corner, which I don't recommend you doing, on the straightaway. It doesn't matter where. The braking is amazing, but you got to get used to that little bit of pedal travel, you know, traveling in the pedal itself, than some of the other cars that I've owned where you just touch the brake and it's right there, especially when you have newer pads, newer rotors. So that's all I've got for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Those are my top 5 things I love about the car. So many options to choose from, but those are my top 5. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you on the next one.